Alright guys, Rich here from the RC Network, and this is going to be my full review of the Thunder Tiger Jackal. This is their 1/10 scale, 4-wheel drive Desert Buggy. This comes in a full ready to run, and I gotta say, I really had a lot of fun with this Jackal. It really proved to be a great vehicle from right out of the box. I literally did nothing to this during my running videos. So take a look at the running videos. There's going to be a couple of those down in the video description for you guys to check out. And I'll try and have some of that footage during this video as well. So with that, I have lots of positive and negatives on this thing. I kind of want to go over each one of them in detail. So if you're considering this thing, you have a pretty good understanding of what to expect when you purchase. So with that, let's go over some of the negatives first. I always like to try and get some of the negatives out of the way so we can get to all of the positives of this Thunder Tiger Jackal. So the first thing, and probably the most prevalent thing, probably I'd have to say 80% of my negative on this vehicle are the actual tires. And I know that pretty much on almost any RTR, the company really tries to think of the end user and what they're going to use it for. I used it for a dirt track and also some rock crawling that you saw in the second video, and these tires are absolutely horrible for those two things. Now the dirt track that I was on has kind of like a hard pack and then kind of a loose topsoil, and the slick rock that I was on towards the second video, there was just no traction at all, and you probably saw that in the video there. The tires are definitely kind of like a hybrid. They have a good look to them, but they're kind of like a hard rubber compound, so definitely not what you'd want in a aspect of a dirt environment. So lots of slippage issues and directional issues, but that is probably my most huge negative on this vehicle. Now with that, to flip over to a positive really quick, you can pretty much mount up almost any short course tire straight up to this. It's a 12mm hex. You pretty much just bolt them on, you're ready to go. This is just a set of indoor clay compound tires, but almost pretty much the same size. Once you get some knobs on there, they'll be identical to these, if not just a little bit wider too, to give you a little bit wider track. So, but nonetheless, a great option, if you want to pick up a different set of tires for your particular spot. On down the line here, you do get a plastic front drive shaft, and I know I'm going to be doing a lot of comparisons, of course, to the Axial Yeti, and that is, it's probably its biggest competitor here. So you do get a plastic drive shaft here, very similar to the rear. I didn't have any issues with it, but I think down the line it could be an issue, but no issues to report so far. I wish it was a metal kind of CVD dog bone type situation going from the transmission up to the front diff. Next thing here, there is no rear sway bar on this, and I know there was some issues where I was kind of rolling over a lot in the first running video. There is mounts for it. I'm just not sure if it's even available. So it would have been nice if it did have a rear sway bar, being that it is a 4-link suspension on a solid rear axle. So next thing here, there's no interior included with this. It would have been nice, just a nice little kind of scale feature to have that interior to kind of hide some of the interiors of this, but nonetheless, that is a very minor thing. Maybe it could be added down the line, a little customization. The last two things have to do with the front end of this. There's no captured rod ends. These are just like a 1/10 scale buggy type of ball end on there. I had no issues with them, but I just know that once you start to put some more power down and, of course, start to get into some stuff, these things could start popping off. And once they pop off once or twice, they're pretty much done. So I didn't have any issues with them on my voyage, but I do see that in the future. Last thing here is the front diff. There is absolutely nothing in that front diff. It is a full-fledged differential, but as you see, I'm just kind of spinning the tires, and there might be grease in there, a little bit of grease, and I haven't fully inspected to see whether or not it can actually hold some silicone fluid. It would have been nice, straight from the factory, but you know, that might be something down the line, or we can maybe add a seal or something to get that differential a little bit better fluid situation. So now that's it on the negatives. You know, probably the biggest thing was the tires, a couple of little drivetrain issues, but let's go into some positives. There's lots and lots of positives, almost double of what I saw on the negatives. Here's my little list here, and you can see the positives on the left side. The first thing is the looks. I mean, this thing just looks damn good. It has that look that you want from a remote control car. It just looks good. It looks good when it drives. It looks good here in the studio. It just has that look that you want. Next thing, the electronics were just absolutely flawless. The 3600 kV motor, you know, was really well paired with a 3S LiPo. Now, I did use that Reedy 3S pack. I believe it was a 39 milliamp hour battery, so it was the same size as a 2S LiPo, like a 5,000 milliamp. So, but great motor, great power, ESC. This is basically a an 80 amp ESC, waterproof. Great ESC, had great throttle control throughout the band. Really enjoyed the electronics. No issues with heat. Fan turned on. It does come with a Dean's plug, which is really nice right out of the package. You know, the servo, although not the fastest servo, it centered every single time as a servo should, and I didn't really have any issues with torque or anything else. So great servo and great electronics package from Thunder Tiger. Now, one thing that I did notice on the rear or on the underside of it is they basically used a very Yeti style receiver box, which I'm not a fan of. I went ahead and pulled off the cover here. Lots and lots of dirt gets in there, and you can kind of see here just from my 2 packs that I ran, lots of fine dirt get inside of there, and I've already dumped a lot of it out. And I just wish it would be on the inside of the vehicle. I think it would just be a little bit better protected, and you know, overall, yeah, I think it'd be better. So I did remove the cover, so don't think that it's completely open. So there's the cover for it. Now on to, let's see here. Next thing, suspension. And I had my buddy out there doing the filming of this thing, and he just couldn't get over how well the suspension was and how fluid it was. I mean, it's so nice, and I love the fact that it uses standard short course sized shocks on it. You don't have that real long one like the Axial Yeti does. So really nice. I had no issues with it. Huge shock shafts on this thing, all aluminum body. They're threaded. I mean, everything you'd want in a good quality shock. Next thing, durability. I beat the living snot out of this thing, and hopefully you guys saw the running video with the rock crawling. This thing just cartwheeled down that hill so many more times than you guys actually saw, and the amount of times that I landed, there was one time in the first video where I landed literally like this on the front passenger wheel. Nothing happened. I mean, this thing is just pretty much bulletproof to my knowledge thus far. So great durability factor. With that, you got to give praise to these front suspension arms. I mean, look at these things. They're solid. There's nothing you know, to get in the way of breaking one of these front A-arms. I mean, they did a great job of designing it. It has a scale look to it. Everything is great on those front arms. Now, on down the line here, you do get steel turnbuckles, both the steering and the front. Now, of course, the rear doesn't need it because you have a solid rear axle, but steel turnbuckles is always nice, and they are fully adjustable. Down the line here, this has to do with some of the transmission things. We do have full 32-pitch gearing on this. I was hoping I wasn't going to see 48-pitch, but we do have full 32-pitch gearing. Very nice that it comes straight with that, and that, of course, that adjustable slipper clutch there. Now onto the rear. I was kind of nervous when I opened up the rear diff cover. I went ahead and I pulled it off. Looks basically like that, just 4 screws that hold it on. You have full access to the rear diff, and you do get a full locked rear differential, and it does appear to be hardened steel. You can usually tell the sharpness of it, whether it's kind of that pot metal or a hardened steel. This does appear to be hardened steel. I might be wrong, but it does appear to be that way. So nice durability item on this, especially if you're going to be running 3S on it. Really like the speed of the 3S in this vehicle. Down the line, it comes with the Deans. I mentioned that already. Standard short course wheels and tires. Now, to give you a really quick comparison, of course I showed you guys the standard SET wheels and tires, but let's look at a set of custom Yeti wheels and tires. You can kind of see how much more large those Yeti wheels and tires are, and that's what my biggest positive on this truck is. I think the engineers at Thunder Tiger nailed this thing. They absolutely nailed the scaleness of this thing, the size of it, the power of the electronics, and the durability factor. Now, I think what a lot of the things that plague the Axial Yeti is it's a little bit larger, a little bit heavier, and thus the durability was way down on that thing. So I think Thunder Tiger did a great job, and that is going to be my biggest thing and biggest thumbs up to Thunder Tiger on the scaleness of this, and also the durability versus the scale. I think they nailed the size of this thing, and nonetheless, there you go. So my quick sum up of this vehicle, I think they did a great job on this. I think if you change out the wheels and tires, get yourself some fresh, sticky, knobby tires, some SET blockades would be great, especially where I was running. I think if we put some fluid in that front differential, run this thing on 3S like I did, you got a winner. This thing is awesome. Really enjoyed this vehicle. It was fun shooting it. My buddy enjoyed driving this thing. Also, he was able to get some rock crawling done with this thing. So we definitely had a blast, and I can't wait to do some more things with this Thunder Tiger Jackal. Well, guys, that is it for now. If you have any comments or questions about my review, please feel free to post those on down below. Always check out my Facebook page. I have things up there all the time, photos. I already leaked photos of this, of the running videos, prior to the running videos coming out. So take a look at my Facebook page. There'll be a link down in the video description to that as well. But as always, thumbs up and subscribe. That's it for now, guys. Over and out.